all of this on love, can we? You've worked very hard on this issue, I know, so I wanted to ask you about that first. What did you make of that?
I'd say,
what a
what's
bizarre
love
comment.
got to do? What's love got to do with it? I mean, this was an insurrection. Now, these people who bought into Donald Trump's big lie, obviously they are the ones suffering. And I believe there was also discussion of people were encouraging him, hey, you might get a pardon from somebody who is never going to be president again, which would be Donald Trump. So this is sad that people who believed in Donald Trump are now, going to pay very personal costs, as they should. These were criminal actions on January 6th. I don't think we've still gotten to the bottom of it, because I think a lot of the people who need to be held responsible, people at the White House who may very well, as the information comes out, have been involved in this rally and egging on this kind of activity. And that's why I think it's so important that we get these phone records, that we get these text records of people there who are engaged in that activity and in the days before and the days following. And I think this is going to be a very important.
Congresswoman? Sorry to interrupt.
Well, I think anybody's. One of the first people I'd focus on are people like Donald Trump Jr., Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, people at the White House, people who were conducting the rally. So I think where those lead you. But I do think, as Paul knows, I subpoenaed a lot of phone records and a lot of email records in my day of the Clinton administration. Congress has an absolute right to subpoena those records. And I think what they have done is exactly appropriate.
And Paul, I have to ask you about the California recall. If California voters are successful and they remove Governor Gavin Newsom, the conservative radio host Larry Elder is the Republican frontrunner. He could become the governor of California, and he has said that if he becomes governor, he will flip the Senate by replacing Senator Dianne Feinstein, I suppose if she retires or something along those lines, with a Republican senator. What do you think of that? And do you think the coast is clear for the governor of California? Because, I mean, that's what you're hearing from a lot of Democrats. They, the latest polls show he's fine. But the Republican voters out there in California are motivated, and the recall process favors them to some extent.
Oh, absolutely, Jim. I know you know this, and Barbara does, but our viewers should understand. In California, it's idiosyncratic, to say the least. Governor Newsom could get 49%. And get tossed out of office and replaced by the right-wing radio host you mentioned, who is only polling at 24%. That's just the way their system works. Newsom has to be over 50%. That is to say, Democrats and Republicans who want to keep their governor have to vote no on the recall. Now, I talked to some California Democrats today. They're not as sanguine or comfortable or confident. They're very concerned. The very early returns, everybody gets a mail-in ballot. They don't have to use it. They can vote in person. The early returns are somewhat encouraging, I think, for the Democrats and for Governor Newsom. But they're very concerned about people voting in person, where Republicans usually perform better these days because Trump so discredited mail-in ballots. So I think it's a huge controversy. I don't know why Larry Elder would want to nationalize this. Right? He ought to be talking about local California issues. He wants to be the governor of California. When he nationalizes it, I think he hurts his own cause. But God bless him, he told the truth. He wants this office, he says, so he can flip the Senate to Mitch McConnell. He has also said his view of abortion is murder. That's a pretty strong three-word sentence. That's not the view of most Californians. They don't want to have the kind of Texas abortion bounty law that we're seeing in my beloved home state of Texas. So I think Elder may have made a mistake here in trying to nationalize this race, but the Democrats had better work like everything depends on it, because it might.
All right, Paul Begala and former Congressman Barbara Comstock, thanks so much to both.